Mr. Vivek Savla is a chartered accountant and he heads Savla Cold Storage. Cold Storage is the single largest single location cold storage in India. Uh, Vivek, by the questions that we had asked in the survey, over 80% of SMEs are facing cash flow issues.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, with slow business acceleration and also post lockdown, how can we leverage capital to weather this period? So, if you could please throw some light on that.
Yeah. Uh, this is I've taken the effort to put up a PowerPoint and which I will share with the participants here. And, oops. Go to the last one. Sorry. Yeah. Can everybody see the screen?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So since Mr. Miss, the FM is going to be here in a while, let me do this faster. The impact of COVID-19 on SMEs, and particularly when you're looking at from the how do you manage your cash flows and other things, is what I would like to focus myself on. The background is there, and just rush through this. This is too big an opportunity to waste. It's an adversity, and in best of the adversity, the tough people go running. So, and this is an adversity which has come upon us, and the best thing is to forget it and move ahead. But in the meantime, definitely it's imperative to survive the present. So that is there, and there are a few steps which I will take you through about how we should be able to do this. The pandemic, in my opinion, is still in India. It still has to peak, and after that only it will wane. Once we get what is called as the herd immunity, then only this will become a part of it. We have to accept that COVID is here for us, and there could be a second and a third wave which will come up in the near future. After which there would be frequent lockdowns to break the chain as well, so that we don't see many big losses of life going forward. The vaccine, though under preparation and the cure, it is still about 15 to 18 months away as per the reports that are available. I don't know when it will come, and we can only at best make a guess estimate. So therefore, what do we do? We have two things to do and look at, and that is either you sit and cry or you spread your wings and fly. So the choice is on us and what to do, and I think the best thing is to spread our wings and fly as much as possible. For that, what we need to look at is we need to break up the time period into short time frames so that we are able to manage it in the short term manner. We look at the first 3 months, 6 months, and the 9 month period, and then we take calibrated efforts based on each of these periods. The first 3 months would be now ending around August or September 2020. We look at the next 6 months after that, which would be around March 21, and the 9 months thereafter, which would be December 2021. So around this time, we would hope that the vaccine would have already taken effect and trials would have been hopefully successful, in which time we'll be able to overcome the pandemic. So therefore, what do we do in these cases? Till September 2020, we only need to survive. We need to think of how to survive. Because if we exist, then we can plan for the future. Once we through that, up till the next 6 months, what we need to is consolidate. And thereafter, what we need to do is we need to nurture. We need to nurture the business and take it ahead for the next growth or the quantum leap that we can make thereafter. All that we do between now and the next 15 months or so will shape the future after that for us. So how do we go about this? In the survival period, what do we do? From our existing bankers, we look at and we talk about, and RBI has given a facility 3 months. The 3 months is ending this 31st May. Mostly all of us who would have had some or the other loans or cash flow issues would have taken benefit of this EMI deferment system. Apart from that, we can banks are also allowed to give up to 20% of existing limits as ad hoc overdraft. This is for a temporary period of 90 days, which needs to be then uh, it needs to be paid and then retaken again. But this 90 days and this 20% additional amount can always help us to meet our immediate commitments in terms of shortfall of cash flows. From there, we can also talk to our banks for reduction of the rate of return or rate of interest. Why we don't need to do this is because already the everybody is aware of what the effect of the COVID pandemic is. The government as well as the banks have already reduced savings schemes rate. So the banks already anticipate that there's going to be a low interest regime going forward. Even the RBI has reduced the cash reserves as well as the reverse repo rates, therefore making it the liquidity available with the bank. They have to pass on liquidity along with at lower interest rates. Unless we ask for it, they will not be given. Now there are also some hidden assets within our organizations, somewhere or the other. We just have to open our eyes and look at them. We have not had time to look at them so far, but now is the time we have enough where we can look at this. The first thing is the scrap or obsolete items. It could be raw material or it could be finished goods. We have to look for alternative uses or alternative challenge to dispose them, liquidate them and convert them to cash as soon as possible. Next is old debtors. If there are any disputes pending or there is some legal issues there, and if there is a way in which you can speak to the customer, this might be a good time to sit across and get them to pay part of it and settle the dues. They'll also be happy. You will have much needed cash to proceed forward. Another thing is we would have always be investing some of our monies in LICs and PPF. If required, we can put into this pool of funds that we have. LIC gives about 90% of the surrender value for all the policies which are 3 years and above. Normally, these rates of interest are between 9 to 11%, and the rate of you have to pay interest every 6 months. So it's not like the bank where you pay every day or every month. And the compounding, if at all happens, it happens at every 6 monthly period. So this for the survival and the consolidation period, this money can be useful. So is the case with PPF. Last is if with your vendors, if you're there, you have a payment terms available, and you have some certain cash available. Give those money away and pay the vendors and take upfront discount from them whenever you can possible. Now thereafter, you look at consolidation. The next 6 months period, what do you do? This is the right time to connect with your customers, speak with them, engage with them, ask about their well-being, understand from them what is their future plan, how the COVID has affected their business. Because in there, along with them, you are also aligned. So this will also help you to plan in future for your business. Connect with your vendors, understand from him the supply chain or the breaks therein are there. Nowadays, a lot of transporters are not available, drivers are not available. The trucks are there, but drivers are not there. So there is delay as well as uncertainty about when materials can come. Connecting with vendors will help you to look at alternative ways in which you can bring those materials and start your work. Ideally, at this time, this is not the time to change a bank. I was asked a question whether would this be the right time to look at changing bankers or not. No, for two, three reasons. First is there will be a cost involved, which will be the cost of processing fees as well as mortgaging and other costs, which at this time you don't need to incur. Two, your existing banker has your trust with you. He's going to give you support. He'll manage your business. For a new banker to understand all that, it will take a time frame of 2 to 3 months. Rather, it will be better to use the ad hoc facility from the existing banker and go ahead. Now, what to do? Now, the nurturing period, which is after the 9 months. After the 9 months, the next 9 months, how do you nurture the business? This is the time when, after you're quite stable, you would have survived and you become some stable. There is some restart of business which has already happened. So there is you have some visibility of what your next 12 months or 24 months will be like. This time you may renegotiate with your bankers the terms. You can pay upfront from this, or you can do what is called as a balance transfer, at which time you look at a new bank. When you're doing a balance transfer, also look for a top up of about 15 to 20% of what your need is. because you don't know where you stand and how the future will unfold going forward. The key points to take point at this point of time is how what do you negotiate on is look at a moratorium period. Generally, if it's a working capital finance, a moratorium period is not given, and but in which case there's no repayment also. The working capital is just a revolving credit facility. But if you're looking at term loans, even if you feel that you will start getting payout from the new expansion or from the new capex in 6 months time, ideally you should ask for a 12-month or a 15-month or an 18-month repayment moratorium period. Moratorium period means is the period during which only you have to service the debt by way of interest. Your principal repayment does not start at this point in time. You also look at repayment. Generally, our tendency is that we should take as much less debt or for less tenure as we need. While that maxim is correct, keep that option with you as to when you want to pay. So if bankers are ready now available to give you finance for 5 years, 7 years, 8 years, take that repayment schedule. Though you know you will be able to repay in 3 years or 4 years or 5 years, take 1 to 1.5 years additional time to repay. Why? Because you for such uncertainties like that, you will have a very managed, very good cash flow available with you. Because liquidity is what is troubling businesses today, not the business itself.
Vivek bhai, another 2 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. Along with the prepayment terms, along with this, you also do a prepayment terms, which would say that you have the option to repay 20% or 25% of the principal at a choice of your time. The banks are ready to give you this also, in which case there will be no prepayment charges to be paid. Also look at the assets that you mortgaged, so you know where you stand. Banks have the however much money you or asset coverage you give them, they always want more. You should be judicious in what assets you give against the loans that you are taking. For the future, start setting aside a percentage of profits very soon as you go forward. Create a second source of income so that you don't depend on only one source. There are a few performance metrics. You look at the return on capital employed, which is your return on profit after tax plus interest divided by the debt and the equity, which is the total. This will give you how much your business is earning for you. According to this, you will know how much interest is worth paying to the bank for. The debt service coverage ratio, it shows you how much liquid cash you have. So that and over and above that, what is the surplus available to service your principal and EMI repayments. Quick or acid test ratio, this is what is very relevant today in terms of liquid cash. What is that? We also call it liquidity ratio. It is cash and cash equivalents with securities, and this is called as the debtors. Today's debtors repayment times are unclaimed, so you may not include this in that. Divided by the current liabilities will show you how much funds you have to meet your existing liabilities today. The debt equity ratio, this is a leverage ratio which shows you what are your total debt to your total equity. Normally, we should be 1 to 1.5, maximum 1:2, not more than that. I mean, 2 rupees of debt for every 1 rupee of your own equity. Fixed asset coverage ratio, this is important when you talk with mortgage values with your bank, because this will show you take your fixed assets at market value divided by the total debt that you have. There is also need to talk on manpower management, but I'll rush to this very fast because engage proactively with your labor. They are also finding this as something new. Talk to them that this is going to be a new normal, that they need to re-energize and reinvent themselves as well as of some of your processes. Invest and prepare to work for home. Labor will not be available very soon, so also be prepared for that. That you may have to change your processes so that you can work with minimum staff. For that, you will need to do two things. One is train your staff to be multidimensional, which was covered earlier by Mr. Nambiar. Also, there could be a possible second and third wave. So build two different teams who are able to manage. Adopt technology wherever possible. However, there is a caveat I would put there. Do not go for the latest. Go for time-tested technology. And invest in the technology at those places where you need to improve your customer experience and to ensure quality and assurance for the customer. These two places, the customer will value the technology that you put in. Contract management, yes, you'll have to look at how your productive linked incentives are there. You need to put increments on hold. You may have to revisit those with your labor and your team. leave and lean encashment policies may have to be revisited. But at the same time, let's be human also. So because they are the ones who are going to face the brunt right on the streets. So we have to look for a balanced approach to this. Compliances, Mr. Namya spoke a lot on this. I'll put at the cost. Social distancing and norms are going to change. So there is going to be a reduction in workers, hence output may reduce, profitability as well as efficiency may be affected, which could lead to increased cost for redesigning workplaces. There'll be new equipments for scanning, PPE, sanitation, everything. A new thing which has come up is the government has mandated group medical insurance. Now, the Maharashtra government has brought out the Jyotiba Phule scheme, but looking at the fine print, it is clear that it is not available for people who are not domicile of Maharashtra and also those who are not covered under the ESIC. So this is an added cost which one will have to take. You have to provide for shelter and meals for the migrant workers, as well as having bus and conveyance means for ferrying staff to and fro from work and residence. Conclusion, cash is king. It always was, it always will. You need to know how to manage it. You need to be razor sharp on your focus on costs. Innovate, re-engineer, reinvent wherever possible. Adopt technology where required. Convert your assets to cash. Be proactive with your lovers, with your staff, with your workers, customers, and everybody. Pandemic will go, but we are here and the business is going to stay. So we need to look at that positively. All I can say is that the pillar of success will be the top management, then the owners. You have your operations team, you have your technical team, and you have your labor and workforce. All of them have to be inward looking towards the customer who's at the center of all of this. If the customer is there, we'll all remain and we'll all survive and we'll all thrive. So all our energy should be focused in making sure that we are able to keep the customer satisfied at all times. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vivek bhai. Thanks a
Yes,
lot.
sir.